Well, for us, and I said this in our press conference, it was really about looking for a profile. We weren't chasing names, we were chasing characteristics. And we'd been very thoughtful in preparing for this process about what kinds of characteristics were important to us. We built that list based on success that we'd seen built in other programs. And important, I think it was sustained success. We weren't looking to do something that's a flash in the pan moment. We wanted to see examples of places that had built something that had proven successful in the long term. And so that list included things like leadership ability, and included things like great confidence, and included someone who could go out and recruit, someone who could go out and develop players, make them better during their time on our campus, somebody who had shown great success in hiring a fantastic coaching staff, someone who could generate tremendous buy-in from their players and their staff. And so there's a long list of things that we were looking for, and as we worked through the process, we just put names through that machine, if you will, and tried to see, okay, who fits these criteria, and we started to develop our list based on that. And I think it was obviously think it's been a very successful process for us. Not really. I would say that trying to always be a good steward of our DIA resources is a component of any process, any decision. And for us, as I talked about last week, I felt like we were, by design, at a fork in the road with our prior staff. We had a decision to make. Either we were going to recommit to them to the tune of millions of dollars, which could have ultimately cost us millions of dollars if we ended up in the same place in another year or 2 years, or we need to make a change. And so for that reason, we thought that that was one of the reasons that we thought it was important to go ahead and do this now. And I think that the new energy, the new leadership, hopefully will yield renewed interest and enthusiasm around the program. And as we emerge out of COVID-19, we hope to see a full stadium behind us, and renewed excitement around Illinois football. And ultimately, of course, that will bring more revenue into the program and put us in a stronger position going forward. We've increased it slightly. So for the 10 on-field assistants, we've committed at least $5 million, which I think will put us in the top 5 in the Big Ten. And then beyond that, we'll do another 2 or so for additional staff members. Obviously, football staffs have grown significantly here over the last few years. And so we think he'll have ample resources to go out and attract the quality coaches that we know he can. And we've got great confidence that he'll put together a fantastic staff. It put us in a much stronger position, and I think certainly that facility and the people who helped build it, I hope, had tremendous pride today as they watched that press conference. I don't know that Bret Bielema is our head football coach right now if we don't have the Smith Center standing there. And the interest that we had in the program, again, I think was a testament to the work that we've done here over the last 5 years in making this a stronger position, a more attractive position for quality coaches. And the building was a big part of it. But certainly, as I talked about, getting the staff right-sized in terms of the head count, getting more resources committed to salaries, to the salary pool for that group. I think that the alignment and stability that we have in our leadership in the university, from our board to our president to our chancellor to me, is critical. And then I think the talent in the room, in the roster, is something else that has made it a much more attractive position as well. And so you're always trying to improve, and I felt like we had a really attractive message to provide to candidates when we talked about what the future could look like with their leadership here at Illinois. In-state recruiting, I think, is critical for any flagship university in any state. I think that Indiana would say that. I think certainly Ohio State would say that. I think that any state flagship institution understands the importance of attracting its own players. And here in Illinois, given the number of people we have living in the state, given the quality of the high school football that's played in this state. We need to make sure that the best players in Illinois have a sincere opportunity to play football at their state's university. And that was a focus of ours as we headed into this process. And we talked at length about that with different candidates. But certainly Bret's familiarity with the state, his passion for this place, and his connection and understanding of the Big Ten, and in particular the Big Ten West, I think were all important elements. And then last but not least, his relationship building skills. We saw it just in the press conference today. He's very adept at putting people at ease, at developing connections, and I think that will play out well for us in a lot of different arenas, including recruiting. Yeah, I'm not going to put any time frame on it. I think that as Bret and I started talking, it was evident quickly that we had a shared common vision for what we want the future of Illinois football to look like, and that's sustained success. I think that the idea is that we're going to build something where the expectation is that we'll be in the postseason, where the expectation is that we'll be competing for divisional championships and conference championships, and eventually to get into the four-person CFP. And that, to me, is exciting. We've got the opportunity with a head coach who's coached at the highest level for 12 years, yet he's only 50 years old. And so he's got a long runway in front of him to come here and build a legacy as one of the most successful coaches the University of Illinois has ever seen. And that certainly is my expectation, my aspiration for him, and I know it's one that he shares as well. I did. Yeah, I felt really privileged to have the chance to be in that room, to watch him interact with our players. That's a hard thing to do, to connect with a room of 100 people. First time you met them, it's at the tail end of a long, emotional season and on the heels of a coaching change. There's a lot that team has endured. I think I said on Twitter last week that probably the team that's encountered the most adversity of any team in the history of Illinois football. And so for him to walk in that room and immediately go about establishing a rapport, making a connection to them, I think speaks volumes about who he is as a person and about the opportunity that he has as a head football coach. He's going to need those skills, both to connect with our current team, to connect with potential future members of that team, with our staff, with our community, with our donors, with our alumni. Being the head football coach at a place like Illinois has a lot of different elements to it, and his relationship building skills, I think, will serve him and us very well as we go forward. Look, I'm not going to defend the choice. I don't think we need to. I think that as you look at Bret's record and as you have the conversations with the people who I've talked to over the last week about him, it was incredible, the amount of support that he generated from people he's been around for a long time, people I trust, people who know football, the Barry Alvarez's and Bill Belichick's of the world. You talk to his former players, you really start to peel back the layers of the onion when it comes to Bret Bielema, and you learn a lot about who he is as a person, who he is as a leader, who he is as a football coach. And in each conversation I left increasingly excited about the prospect of the chance to bring him here as our head football coach. And I just hope people will take the time to really study him and to give him an opportunity to integrate himself into our community, into our Fighting Illini family, because he's an exceptional person and he's going to lead us to great things. And ultimately, that's what we've expected of our head football coach, and I've got great confidence that's who we found.